I'm the king of dreams.
It's been 32 years since the first issue of Neil Gaiman's The Sandman released, and fans have been clamoring for an adaptation for nearly as long. While it's just about impossible to live up to the kind of expectations that come with such anticipation, Gaiman, Alan Heinberg, David S. Goyer, and the rest of the team behind the Netflix series didn't just meet them, they exceeded them. Not enough can be said about casting director Lucinda Syson's work on the project. You've probably read 1,000 different news articles about the casting of this series, but it's for a reason. The show does not work for a second if you don't believe that the people portraying the Endless are, well, endless. And that absolutely comes across here. Tom Sturridge is ethereal as Dream. Seriously, it's actually unreal how good he is in this role. From his delivery and speech cadences to the tiny, almost unintentional smirk that comes when Morpheus finds himself amused in spite of himself, it's impossible to imagine another in his place.
Corazon. The helm is mine.
Somehow, he's not alone in the exceptional portrayal of character either. There truly is not a bad performance in the bunch. Boyd Holbrook's Corinthian is every bit as suave and spooky as he's meant to be.
He's out of his cage.
No one can call out Dream while showcasing the deepest kind of empathy like Kirby Howell-Baptiste's death.
It's time.
Gwendolyn Christie's Lucifer is as imposing as you would expect.
Hello, Dream.
And Mason Alexander Park's Desire is simply delicious. Sison and Gaiman went to work on casting for this series, and it absolutely shows. Netflix's The Sandman acts as a direct adaptation of Preludes and Nocturnes and the Doll's House stories from Gaiman's The Sandman graphic novel series, and outside of updating the time in which it takes place and a couple key changes here and there, it's nearly a one-to-one adaptation. Pages leap to the screen, transporting the viewer into dreams in ways, well, in ways you can only dream of. From the cold, destitute cellars of Roderick Burgess's estate to the sweeping visions of the dreaming, there are very few scenes in this series that aren't stunning to look at or meticulously planned out. There have been reports that an impressive $15 million per episode was spent on the adaptation, and it looks like it. The creatures leap off the screen while the demons of hell creep and crawl through the woven walls of bodies. Sandman's sprawling story is another tool meant to add to just how endless it feels. It spans eons and skips from human story to human story as if they're merely blips because, as far as Morpheus is concerned, they are. This was an easy sell in the graphic novels due to the format, but it may be a harder sell for audiences new to the material. It's frustrating because that endless feeling is a difficult thing to capture on screen, and if you're familiar with what you're looking at, Netflix's The Sandman does it admirably. But an adaptation's job is to honor the source material while introducing new fans to something they'll hopefully love, and I don't know how welcoming the series is to those new viewers when it comes to how quickly Dream's saga shifts from one story to the next. In that one very specific sense, the show may not do its job, which infuriatingly keeps me from giving it a 10 out of 10 score, despite the fact that, outside of that very minor quibble, The Sandman is a masterpiece. Watching Dream learn about the goodness of humanity through death and the tricky mortals he surrounds himself with is truly a gift. Underneath all of the darkness, brooding, and dark fantasy elements is a story about one of the most powerful creatures in existence learning how complicated, messy, cruel, loving, and selfless humans can be. Like Fiddler's Green to the Dreaming, that is the true heart of The Sandman, and it is on full display here with all the love and adoration that comes with an adaptation decades in the making.
Creations do not walk amongst the living, killing mortals for pleasure.
The Sandman is everything longtime fans could have dreamed of in an adaptation. Tom Sturridge is utterly ethereal as Dream, and his co-stars seem to keep pace with him with ease. Meanwhile, stunning, sweeping images from the dreaming to hell itself keep us immersed in the fantasy. It's as faithful of an adaptation as it could be, and outside of the fact that it may go over a few viewers' heads, it's just about perfect. For more on The Sandman, check out our interviews with the cast out of San Diego Comic-Con, and for everything else, stick with IGN.